All right, he's sitting here after Game 7.
Let's go!
Let's
One down, 3 more. Let's go, Columbus.
Let's go.
The Bees are on to Columbus. Welcome into Bruins Now. It wasn't the flashiest or the most memorable of Game 7s. There was no wild comeback like Game 7s of Bruins Maple Leafs past. You probably didn't lose much of your fingernails, if you had any left from the rest of the series, but the black and gold got the job done. And it was the Bruins' 15th Game 7 win in franchise history, moving them past Montreal and Detroit for the most victories in winner-take-all matchups. Julian Edelman set the tone, serving as the Bees' banner captain, and then he really revved things up, guzzling a beer late in the first period with the Bruins up 1-0.
Julian Edelman chugging a beer was awesome. Probably got everyone fired up, including us. Good for him. We'll return the favor at some point down the road.
Shortly after seeing Jules on the Jumbotron, the Bees scored again, and that's when one famous prognosticator predicted things to get out of hand.
Going in, I said 4-3, but seeing the way Anderson's playing, he looks like he's about to poop his pants, that he doesn't want to be here. And Toronto has this history of being losers, basically. So I think this could get ugly. I think maybe 7-1, something in that neighborhood.
Prez would come close with his final score prediction, but it's with a score of 2-1 heading into the third period where we see a bulk of the Celtics roster trading their green for black and gold and cheering on their Boston brethren. And then this.
Corrali around Hainsey. The shot scores! Sean Corrali puts the Bruins up 2! Corrali a couple of years ago, an unlikely hero in Ottawa. Now it is by reputation.
I think you can see by the way I reacted how I felt about that goal. And so if you want to know, just you can watch it again, I think.
Tack on a couple empty netters and the Bees are headed to Columbus. Tom Brady liking it while also trying to recruit Zdeno Chara as a replacement for Rob Gronkowski. And just like Tom Brady has done so many times in his career, the Bruins proved that being down doesn't mean they're out. Cassidy's club overcame 3 series deficits in this one by making methodical adjustments.
We talked about at the start of the series, we felt we needed a certain type of lineup to beat Toronto. We finally found it. At the end of the day, you look around the room at Z and Bergie and Krejci and those guys that have been through it. That's the reason this team is resilient. I've said it all along, it's the leadership group. I think as a staff, we always try to go back to work the next day, no matter what happens, good, bad, or indifferent. Learn from the, maybe the stuff you didn't do as well as you'd like and build on the positive. So you put those two things together, I'm not surprised that our group's able to bounce back.
Toronto's been backed by lots of star power in this series. First it was Drake, and Tuesday night it was Justin Bieber, neither of whom proved to be a lucky charm. And as far as Leafs fans are concerned, it is too late to say sorry. Bieber and his boo Haley Baldwin were in the building for Game 7, and while he was probably singing Never Say Never up until the final horn, the Biebs had to be asking, what do you mean, when it was all said and done. The singer took to Instagram prior to Game 7, praying, "Dear Lord, please be with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and all of the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight as they play Game 7 against the Boston Bruins." Bieber's prayers were not answered, and after the loss, Leafs fans were not interested in keeping him company. David Pastrnak, who had 28 shots in the series, had his best shot on the gram, telling Bieber post-game, "Not today, Justin." The Bees are back in action tomorrow at TD Garden for Game 1 against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who shocked the hockey world by sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Let's check in with Dale Arnold and company for a series preview.
The Boston Bruins move on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, but they're playing a team now that's almost diametrically opposed to the team they just beat. The Columbus Blue Jackets, who went all in at the trade deadline, are the next opponent.
Yeah, all in. Had to battle to get into the playoffs. There was a little while where it didn't look like they were going to.
Did it early.
And then all they do is go out and throttle the world's greatest team ever assembled in the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-0 in that series. All right, real quick about this team, though. They've developed some good depth. They're getting big scoring right now from Matt Duchene, one of those players players acquired. They're also getting contribution from their back end, something that they weren't getting enough. Like, Zach Werenski was not great during the regular season. He's picked it up. Seth Jones is an all-star type defenseman too. So you add those things all together with their big forwards, like a Boone Jenner, like a Josh Anderson. Holy smokes, is Anderson a good power forward. This team has become one to have to be reckoned with. And again, they were playing really good hockey. Last thing, their power play was inept a lot of times during the regular season, 50% during the playoffs so far.
Goaltending's been pretty good too. Bobrovsky's
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's been really solid. The other thing, of course, is local New Englanders will know John Tortorella's team play one way, and they play hard, they play physical, they block shots, they get in your face. And as Dale mentioned, this isn't going to be a speed type of series. This is going to be one-on-one battles in the corners, getting it deep, below the goal line, below the dots. It will be fun, and it will be intense.
Well, the Eastern Conference semifinals begin Thursday against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
With all that being said, let's turn now to John Campbell, our sports analyst for oddshark.com, for the latest related to the Bees coming out of Vegas.
The Bruins open as -160 favorites, both for the series and for Game 1 on Thursday night against the Blue Jackets. Now, that's the same series price that they faced against the Leafs in round 1. So if you think this one might go 7 games like that one, there might be a little better value there. The Bruins are paying 4-1 to win in 7 games. The best payout is a Bruins sweep. That's paying 9-1 if you want to go with some better series value there. Bruins are now the Stanley Cup favorites. They've dropped to 4-1 to win it all this year. That's a big change from when they were 14-1 earlier this season. So we're seeing a big line move there, and the win over Toronto was enough to convince odds makers to put the Bruins up to the Stanley Cup favorites.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Bruins Now. Puck drops tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at TD Garden for Game 1. Keep it with us on NESN.com for all the action.